lesson is a continuation of what we were doing yesterday. We are going to complete understanding the command words that we left off. I think we stopped off at develop, right? So develop simply means extending an idea logically from a clue in the text. So basically, in a manner of speaking, it means to expand, right? To develop means to expand upon an idea. So you're given the basics, you're giving something to work on, and then you take it forward. All right, I think that makes sense. Yes. So you do not obviously invent unrelated events, any unrelated clues, any unrelated ideas. So for example, the text says the shop was empty by noon. Develop this into what that suggests about trade. So in this case, you could simply say that this could tell us that perhaps the demand of the products was so high that they all got sold out before noon, and that's why maybe the shop was empty, right? So you have to basically draw a reasonable inference from the text. That idea you will be able to figure out from the text, but you'll have to read deeply enough. All right. Then we have the idea of evaluate. You make a judgment about an idea or situation and support it. Now, evaluate is that one word which you're going to keep hearing in the extended writing response as well, and then into your directed writing as well. Because evaluate literally means to make a sound judgment. When you know both sides of an argument, you make a judgment about an idea, an action, a decision, and then you support that with actual facts, not just opinions. Does that make sense? For example, let's suppose if someone says that I am going to travel to the northern areas of Pakistan, and maybe it's the monsoon season. The judgment that you can make is that this decision is reckless, right? Because the worsening weather, perhaps it will put the person traveling or the people traveling at an unnecessary risk, right? Isn't that the case? So that's the judgment you make, a sound judgment you make, understanding the situation. You will not just simply say it is a bad decision or it is a good decision. You know what I'm saying? You have to explain why you think that is the case. So judgment or evaluation works something like this. So there's a judgment, then reason, and then evidence. That's what I want you guys to follow. Do we understand, guys? Judgment, reason, evidence. Make sense?
Yes.
So do not just simply report what happened like this. This is not what you're supposed to do. You have to make a sound judgment by actually supporting it with a reason and evidence that supports your argument. All right. Looking back, was the decision to stay a sensible one? Again, so why was it that the case? What evidence do we have? This is something you'll be figuring out from the passage. Select. Choose only what answers the stated focus. Again, extremely important. Please understand that you only are supposed to select the relevant information, only the information that directly answers the question. This is essentially important in comprehension, because in comprehension you're not supposed to waste time by giving unreasonable explanations. All right, so this is extremely important. So the question asks, what difficulties, let's suppose in a manner of speaking, let's say if you say what difficulties is the traveler's experience, we'll simply just put down the difficulties. You will not write everything that happened to them. You will pick out the details from the passage that shows the difficulties only. No background information needed, no extra details, no copying the entire paragraph or anything of that sort, only relevant details. Do we understand that? Are we good to go?
Yes.
Okay. Then we have support your answer. Obviously, this means you attach relevant evidence or textual detail basically. So your information is once again coming from the passage. It's not coming from your mind. It is not coming from any secondary sources. All right. Your information bank is the passage. This is something which you need to remember. You need to make sure that this is drilled into your mind. No matter what happens, this should be there. Okay, my information bank is the passage. So if they're asking for evidence, if I need to make a solid argument, I need to quote the passage. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so do not assert a point with nothing behind it. So do not talk about a point in any capacity at all that you cannot back up with relevant evidence. Does that make sense? Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. So please make sure, bachcho, that these command words are followed properly because they are extremely important. So obviously, do not assert a point. Done. Support your answer with details from the text. Done. Lastly, we have address each bullet point. This is something you will come across mainly in your extended writing response and directed writing. This instruction is particularly important for longer responses, obviously. In this case, you have to make sure that you follow the instructions carefully. At the end of the day, this is also a command, right? So in this command, you have to cover every bullet fully and fairly evenly, all right? Do not spend most of the answer on the first. बच्चे ये काम भी करते हैं. जैसे एक चीज़ मैंने ये नोट की है narrative writing में, the reason why you guys end up writing weak narratives or narratives that do not fit in the word count is because you give a lot of background information in the first two paragraphs and then you rush through the main details, and that is why there's an imbalance, right? And the narrative ends up becoming weak. Do you understand, guys? Remember, writing is all about a fair balance. How will we balance it all out? We'll inshallah get to that. Okay, do we understand this so far? So address each of the three bullet points or the points as mentioned. All right. So far so good. Now this is again a very important point, using the marks in brackets. Remember I told you guys that when it comes to particularly question number 1, we need to focus on the marks allotted. So either you will be given a 1 mark question, a 2 mark, or a 3 mark. So like this is literally telling you this, that 1 mark normally calls for 1 precise answer. 1 precise answer means 1 point. Make sense? It means 1 point. Please remember that. 2 or 3 marks usually call for that many distinct points, which means either 2 points or 3 points, but an explanation as well. However, 3 marks does not always mean one idea expressed at a greater length. So for this, obviously practice, but before practice, understanding the command words is extremely important. What exactly is the command word asking you to do? A 2-mark explanation of a phrase often reflects 2 strands of meaning inside the paraphrase. Inside the phrase. So both parts need dealing with. Acha, this is an extremely important point. What do we mean by strands? Can anyone tell me the meaning to this? What do we mean by this?
It has a double meaning.
Okay. Afan, any ideas, beta? Sorry?
I don't know.
So basically, strand means 2 ideas in a single statement. For example, if a thing tells you to write the benefits, for example, if I say write down the benefits of the town hall, that simply means you're writing the benefits of a certain place without writing the drawbacks, all right? You will not be writing the drawbacks because it specifically asks you only for the benefits. But let's suppose if a question tells you to write advantages and disadvantages both of a certain place. For example, the advantages and disadvantages of computers. What do you think that means, guys? You write advantages and disadvantages both. Isn't that the case? So with this means what? That you are literally focusing on 2 ideas in a single statement. Isn't that the case? That's the case?
Yeah.
Yes. So please make sure that you understand this. Please make sure that you follow through with this. This is what we call a 2-strand statement. It's asking you to do 2 things. This is something you will come across in your summary as well, to an extent maybe, and you will also come across questions like this. All right. So we'll get to this when we again get to this. But just to give you guys an idea. All right. Okay. The same idea reworded twice counts as one. So for example, if you write 2 ideas or 1 idea but reworded, it's still the same idea. Even if it's reworded 100 times, it still remains the same idea. Do we understand that?
Yes.
Okie dokie, good job. Lastly, extra guesses can weaken an answer where alternatives contradict each other. The examiner cannot tell which one you mean. Make sure that you understand this fully well. Make sure that your guesses are on point. They are backed by relevant evidence. Do we understand that?
Yep.
Okie dokie. So question 1 now, the comprehension section. Again, reminding you guys of what this is about, and then we will be tackling the type of questions that we come across. Please focus at this part in the lesson. I will be, inshallah, sharing the recordings with you guys as well. So inshallah, you will be getting those. They'll be available on YouTube. Yesterday's lesson as well and this lesson as well, hopefully either by tomorrow night or by Monday. All right? So there's that,
Okay.
but I still want you to focus as well and ask me if there's any questions at all. Okay. All right, moving on. Question 1 opens with short answers on text A. This section is worth 15 marks in total. The number of sub-questions, their wording and their individual mark values vary from series to series. So do not learn a fixed pattern. This is extremely important, guys. Please make sure that you understand that out of the 30 marks allotted to question 1, only 15 are dedicated to parts A, B, C, D and E. Even they can have more subparts as well, but F is always going to be summary writing. All right? Now, what kind of questions do we get? Number 1 is direct retrieval, that we understand as explicit. Remember we talked about explicit understanding yesterday?
Yeah.
Explicit means an answer is going to be stated openly in the text. You read the question, you get to the answer, voila, that's it. So information stated openly in the text, locate the relevant paragraph, match the wording of the question to the wording of the passage, and give only what was asked for. This in no way means that if you believe the answer is given in 2 lines, you write those 2 lines entirely. Just squeeze out, extract the answer, extract the relevant information. So for example, give one reason the harbor was rebuilt. The harbour was rebuilt because the old wall had been damaged in the storm of 1953 and the fishing fleet had grown and the council had money available from the regional fund. These answers where one was asked for, 3 answers where one was asked for. If any one of them is wrong, the answer may be spoiled. So please know this. Make sure you give 1 point. So for example, you could simply say the old sea wall had been damaged in a storm. Make sense? Do you guys see this? Dekho,
Yeah.
this is 1 point. Second point, third point. We will write 1 because it's a 1 marker. Do we see this? You will not waste time writing irrelevant points and thinking that whichever point the examiner finds right, they will mark it. Examiner will give you a 0 even if one of them comes up as wrong. Do you understand? And particularly if the first one happens to be wrong. Are we understood at the first type of questions that we have?
Yes.
Okay, so far so good?
Yep.
Okay, so this is the first kind of question or first type of questions that we can generally, generally come across basically. Easy peasy. Let's move on to type 2. Give 2 or 3 details. Again, extremely important. Here the marks depend on the points being genuinely separate. Check each one against the others before writing. So this is an extremely important point, guys. Make sure that you separate your points. The path was slippery after the rain. The handrail had been removed for repair. Do you guys think these are 2 similar points or 2 different points?
Different.
Different, right? So they will definitely what do you call it, qualify as 2 points, right?
Yes.
Okay, so here the marks depend on the points being genuinely separate. Remember that. That's the keyword to follow. So 1 point twice. How does that look like? The path was slippery. The path was not safe to walk on. The second sentence literally restates the first and adds nothing to it, right? The path was slippery literally implies that it was dangerous to walk on. Isn't that the case? Isn't that what they're trying to tell us? So both the points are one and the same. We might as well just write them as one and get 1 point. Because if we write them as two as well, we are not getting any marks. Okay? So far so good?
Yep.
Alright, let's move on then. Next up we have type 3, explaining a phrase in your own words. Important again, particularly if the command word literally tells you to use your own words. That's more important to understand. So a phrase is quoted and its meaning is asked for. Work through it in stages. So you break the phrase into its important parts. Number one, you work out what each part means in this context, right? Context. Remember the understanding of connotation versus denotation? Do we remember that?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So denotation, reminding you guys again, is the dictionary meaning, the literal meaning of a certain word, whereas connotation is the meaning in context. What does this word mean in this context? How are we using this word in this context? All right, in a certain capacity. So that's important. Replace the key vocabulary accurately, but keep the sense. Acha, in this case, guys, let me ask you something. If my passage or if my answer requires me to paraphrase and I have to write the word, let's suppose, photosynthesis or ecosystem, do you think I will find synonyms for these words as well? Will I try to find words, what do you call it, synonyms for these words as well? Is that what I'm going to do? Guys, are you there? I hope you guys can hear me. Alina, Afan, both of you.
Can hear you.
So, what do you think? Will we find a synonym for the words I just mentioned, like photosynthesis or ecosystem? What would we do? We will not, because these are technical terms. All right? These are technical terms, and there's a high chance we might not be able to, find the most appropriate alternative word for it. You know what I'm saying? So it will end up messing up the entire meaning. Guys, do we understand? I would need some sort of affirmation.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So, and join the parts into one complete explanation. Remember, points do not work when it comes to O levels, generally speaking, particularly when the answer is required to be in an explanation or a detailed form. Make sure you write as a small paragraph of maybe 3 lines or 4 lines, depending on the marks allotted. All right. So that's extremely important. The phrase a grudging welcome, incomplete, 1 mark. They were welcome. This deals with welcome and ignores grudging. So you see, you have to explain this in your own words. A grudging welcome. How do you think you will do this? Guys, are you there?
Yeah. It would be like a welcome that you don't really mean from yourself.
No, repeat that again, please.
Like a less sincere welcome.
They welcomed them but not
Okay,
warmly.
how do we go about it, about this question? So you see, let me give you an easy tip for it. Basically speaking, when we get 2 words of this sort together and we get a 2-mark question on this, we have to understand that we have to find synonyms, proper synonyms, all right? Okay? So we have to find a synonym for grudging, that would be 1 mark, and we have to find a synonym for welcome, that would be the other 1 mark, and that would get us 2. All right? So if we just simply write down they were welcomed, this ignores grudging. So this will only get us 1 mark. All right? If we write they were received and let in, but unwillingly and without warmth, Do you guys see that? Grudging welcome, not grudgingly, grudging welcome. Something that you do not do wholeheartedly. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
So now you get 2 points on this. And then we have copying. The welcome was grudging. The original words have been reordered, not explained properly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so far so good?
Yes.
All right. So far so good. These are the kind of questions that we can get as well. Let's move on. Then we have type 4, explicit meaning. The answer is stated in the passage. The word is in finding it and in stating it exactly. Nothing needs interpreting, and adding an interpretation can turn a correct answer into a doubtful one. So make sure that you simply retrieval and explicit, basically more or less the same thing. So make sure that you do not give any opinions, you do not give any information that is slightly irrelevant. Just simply find the exact information, state it as it is. If it needs a little rephrasing, that's fine. But do not do any interpreting of it. Do not, go beyond that. All right. Do not turn the statement into a vague one, into an unfamiliar one. Then we have implicit meaning and inference. The answer is suggested rather than stated. Now find the clue, ask what it reveals, then say so in your own words. So simply put, in this case, the answer is suggested. Suggested means, for example, literally, I could tell you something and you would say, what do you think you are trying to say? So that is what we mean by suggestion in this case. What is the text trying to tell us? It is there, but we have to put on our thinking caps and figure it out. You find the clue, you ask what it reveals, and then you then say so in your own words. So the inference must be one the text will support if an examiner checks it. Make sense, guys? So let's suppose the text says she read the letter twice, folded it into her pocket, and said that the supper would be at 7 as usual. She read the letter twice and put it in her pocket is explicit information. But what do we actually get from it? She did not want to discuss what the contents of the letter was. She turned straight into an ordinary domestic arrangement instead of responding to it. But we clearly see this, that this is important because she read it twice. Do we see that?
Yeah.
This would be an unsupported guess. The letter told her that somebody had died. Nothing in the sentence points to this. Do we understand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So far, so good.
Yes.
Challenging. All right. Let's move on. Questions of this kind asks what a person thinks or feels rather than what they did. The evidence is usually in the smaller details. Look at the words chosen to describe the person, what they do rather than say, how they react to others, the tone of anything they say, any contrast with how they behaved earlier, and what they avoid saying altogether. Name the feeling precisely. Positive, negative, and interested are too broad to earn much. So, in this particular case, you have to basically, these kind of questions they ask what a person thinks or feels rather than what they did. Again, you have to delve deeper into the understanding of the clues given. Like it literally mentions here that the evidence is usually in the smaller details. Look at the words chosen to describe the person. What they do rather than what they say, the actions. How are they reacting to others? The tone in which you think that they are saying a certain something. Any contrast with how they behaved earlier and what they avoid saying altogether. So name the feeling precisely as best as you can. Now you might be wondering how do we figure it out, but trust me, you are able to figure it out. Positive, negative, and interested are too broad to earn much. So please make sure that you do not simply give, what do you call it, vague statements. All right.
Okay.
Okay. So far, so good.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Number 7 is cause, reason, and result. These questions can be lost by answering the wrong half. Make sure that you do not do that. Separate the three before writing. If it's asking you for a cause, separate that first, then reason, then result. Reason could be event as well. 2 weeks of rain had soaked the ground. part of the bank slipped onto the road because of that. The village was cut off for 3 days. Again, in this case, you understanding of the statement itself will tell you how you need to answer the question. So if the question asks why something happened, the answer is the cause. If it asks what happened as a result, the answer is the last row and not the first. All right? Do we understand so far?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then lastly, type 8, we have selecting for a purpose. Some questions name a focus and expect only the material that answers it. A paragraph may contain 8 facts, of which 3 are relevant only. Primarily, this is something you will groom yourselves on in summary writing. So, including all 8 suggests that the focus has not been understood, and it costs time that is needed later. So, make sure that you answer the question only. Make sure that you only figure out the relevant information that was needed out of those 8 points, 5 points, 3 points, perhaps as well. So this is basically it, and this is your comprehension checklist. Bacha, do we follow so far? Have we understood this entirely?
Yes.
Because I have now covered question number 1, text A, and an understanding of A, B, C, D, and E part. Do we understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Let us move on then. Now we have summary writing. Remember this, that summary writing is extremely important because this is part of question 1 and it is the other 15 marks dedicated to your what do you call it, other 15 marks dedicated to your what do you call it, question number 1. But in this case, you will be now reading text B and you will be answering a summary or writing a summary of 120 words. All right, good to go? Do we understand? All right. Now, first and
Yes.
foremost, we have finding the focus. Every summary question names a focus and often 2 linked focuses. Only material answering that focus counts. Remember this. The focus might be the advantages and disadvantages of something, the causes and effects of an event, the difficulties faced, the reasons behind a decision, the action somebody took, the problems and solutions. So, you guys, I want you to focus on something. When we say advantages and disadvantages of something, causes and effects of an event, these are 2 strands. But when we say difficulties faced, that's 1. We say reasons behind a decision, that's also 1. The action somebody took, that's also 1. The problems and the solution, that's 2. The features of a place or a situation, 1 again. Experiences and consequences, 2 again. Do you guys see that? Do you understand what we mean by tier 1 tier statement or 2 tier statements, or 1 strand or 2 strands? Basically देखो, remember this guys, जब हमें summary का question आता है ना, we have to divide it like this, 10 and 5, which makes 15. So 10 marks are for content, 5 are for your quality of your writing, basically. Now out of these 10 marks, you have to write 10 points minimum, and you can also go up to 12 as well. Right? Now out of these 10, you will, if it's a 2 tier summary, you will divide points 5 and 5. But if it's 1 tier only, then you will only write down 10 points for that 1 tier only, 1 strand only. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And the rest of the 5 are dedicated to your language. So this is how you get a complete 15 mark on this, and understanding that still it's 120 words. So far so good?
Yes.
Acha. Now, the working method. Underline the focus words in the question before returning to the text. Read the question carefully before you actually read the text. Does that make sense? Read your question carefully. What is the text question demanding of you? What is the idea of the question? It is demanding 2 focuses that you need to focus on, or 1. If it's, let's suppose, talking of benefits but not drawbacks, no matter how relevant they sound to you, do not write them down because that's not what the question is demanding. Do we understand that?
Yeah.
Then read text B for that focus alone rather than reading it generally. Make sure that you actually annotate the text according to the statement given. Keep a pen or a pencil in hand, alright? That's important. Note possible content points briefly in the margin. Single words are enough as well, just to make sure that you are getting your content points in place. You can also underline them and pinpoint them as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? That's also fine. Then, the most important bit, cross out any examples, repetition, anecdotes, explanation that only illustrates a point already noted. So, bachcho, we understand what examples mean?
Yes.
We understand what repetition means.
Yes.
Do we also understand what anecdotes mean?
Yeah.
What are anecdotes? Can anyone tell me?
It's basically the solution of a problem.
Anecdotes mean a personal story. You know how in school teachers tell you a story, relatable story to make a point? Like give an example, right? I mean, I do that. कि मेरे साथ ये हुआ था एक ज़माने में या back in my school days I used to do this, blah blah blah. Those are anecdotes, personal stories. All right? They make a point. An explanation that is irrelevant to the point, please make sure that you do not add them as part of your writing. Do we understand that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Then group points that belong together so that they can be joined in one sentence. Make sure that you do not, dekho, you cannot fool the examiner, guys. You cannot fool the examiner. You have to understand this. The examiner is, that's a veteran, right? That's someone who knows. So let's suppose you think अच्छा मैं कोई 2 points लिख देता हूँ एक ही तरह के बट उनको रिवर्ट कर देता हूँ मार्क्स मिल जाएंगे ऐसा नहीं होता. All right? The examiner knows what you have written. They have a complete marking scheme in front of them. And they will only tick the points that are on the marking scheme. Because summaries are quite straightforward when it comes to that. All right? Then paraphrase accurately, keeping the original meaning intact. Make sure that your paraphrasing in any way does not mean that you are, changing the point altogether. The meaning should not, for example, abhi, the class before yours was the 11231, and I was teaching them this. That, for example, let's suppose it says that a few of the neighbors objected to the noise, and then a student wrote, all the neighbors got angry at the noise. So when basically the original was few neighbors objected to the noise. So few cannot be paraphrased into all, right? Few could be a couple of neighbors, right? Some of them. Make sense? Similarly, you cannot write down hate because hate is quite a strong word for object. You could say they complained about it. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
So make sure, bachon, we do not change the relevance, which you do not change the meaning. All right?
Okay.
Okie dokie. So far, so good?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on. So then you have write the points as continuous prose in a sensible order. Achha, I think this is one of the most important points when it comes to organization. In this case, you need to understand, bacho, summary needs to be written in a paragraph form. All right?
Yeah.
Do you understand that? Summary
Yes.
is not supposed to be written down as points. Okay? Please make sure of that. Summary is supposed to be written as a paragraph because you only have 120 words in any case. Make sure that you write it down as best as you can in one paragraph. But if you feel like you need to make more, do not go beyond 2. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, so it's 120 words, more or less you can go up to 140. Do not make more than 2 paragraphs. Continuous writing does not mean you only make 1 paragraph. Continuous writing means to not write in points. All right?
Okay.
And then lastly, we have count the words and check against the 120 word maximum. Easy peasy?
Yes.
Okay. I want you guys to please take a look at this sorting paragraph and We will then call it a day after this. I have to just get one thing done in an emergency. So make sure that you just simply go through this. Once you are done, let me know. Sorting relevant from irrelevant and what each set of marks reverts quickly. All right, once you're done, then let me know.
Okay.